Hi, this is Judy Dick here with More Shalom Coloring. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about composing in color. We'll focus on one page from the book, which is in the style of a stained glass window. So I want to choose colors. I want this to really pop and look like one of those medieval stained glass windows with beautiful blues and reds and maybe even some gold. So here we go with the page. For this one, I'm going to use markers, not colored pencils. You can find gel pens and all kinds of markers out there, and they can really give you intense color. So when you're planning a page, think a little bit about using limited palettes. You could perhaps choose 3 colors for a whole page. Here, because I want a contrast between warm colors and cool colors, I'm going to use a limited palette in certain areas, just certain windows. So I'll take my darkest blue, and within this one window, I'll be very focused, but I'll distribute the colors evenly. So I have a dark blue here, but then I'll go to another one. Always keeping in mind that I want this color distributed fairly evenly across this piece. Another thing to keep in mind is that when you use your lightest color, think about where you place it right after you've been coloring the darkest color. You might want contrast, like I do, so I'm placing the darkest blue and the lightest blue right next to each other. Another nice thing, so that the colors pop, is to use your lighter colors next to the black. And another technique to give your picture some high contrast is to think of white as a color too. Black as a color, white as a color. So I might leave one piece completely white. And in a window design, that's really nice because it's almost as if the light is kind of hitting some of the panes and you have a pure white piece. Now, another nice thing, if you see, I'm keeping this, what I'm calling the limited blue palette, in this whole row. So if I completed the whole flower, you'll have this kind of stripe of blue from afar. But then over here, this is where I'm varying the warm colors and the cool colors. So you'll see the contrast of the warms and the cools also gives your eye a lot to focus on. And I use that same kind of technique. If I have yellows and reds right here, maybe I want some darker blues right nearby. So just have fun. This takes a fair bit of time, but you do start to relax after a while as you keep coloring. Now for this piece, you see where I'm going with it. But one other technique I'd like to throw in there is just using a completely different kind of, not even color, but maybe pen. For instance, we have a gold. You could use a metallic, just for an extra bit of pop. And you see that I've done this for some of the musical instruments. You could use it as a highlight, like on this shofar, or you could actually use it like on a trumpet, if the trumpet's completely made out of metal. We're not going for reality here. You really just want to create some contrast all the way through. So this gives you a little sense of just some of the techniques. And if you're planning it this way, you'll start to have a pattern. The whole piece will have a pattern itself, a pattern in color. And I'd like to show you one completed piece that actually I think is very beautiful and I found very inspiring. It's actually a piece by my cousin's daughter, who's 7 but clearly a budding artist. And this is again a great example of a fairly simple, limited palette, just yellows, browns, and some oranges, but I think she used it to great effect. So you have fun with that, get some pens or some colored pencils, and enjoy yourself.